We've got 38 minutes to go. Voting starts at 7 until 9 tonight. So that's the time you have. And of course, there is Friday, just giving some of the points that the IEC needs to hit. So Friday, the 31st of May, that's until when parties have to object to anything.
Yeah.
A bit of a divergence from what we used to have previously, where the announcement of those results would have happened on a Saturday. They're happening on a Sunday this time, the 2nd of June. And then the proclamation of the results and seat allocation will happen on Thursday, the 6th of June. So that's important information.
It is, and it doesn't end today. So just because you think the voting ends, that's where the hard work begins for everybody that's involved in these elections, but particularly as you counted down the IEC that are in charge of all of this. So again, let's just talk you through some of the things, and we've got some of our guests with us that are also going to be weighing in on conversations. They were with us yesterday, of course, and it's so nice to have S'bu Ndebele back with us, Sophie as well, back with us here as well, to talk a little bit more about what is going to happen today and how things are going to be working. Dr. S'bu Ndebele, Senior Lecturer from the University of Pretoria, also joining us. So as we go down to the voting stations, and this is important information because that's what South Africans are doing as we speak. You're waking up, you're having a cup of coffee, well, I assume you're having coffee. You have to have coffee. That's just the way it is. And you're getting ready to go. You've got to go with your ID. That's the most important thing. You have to go to the voting station. You are registered to vote. You cannot go anywhere else, South Africa. It's a very big thing. You need to go to that station. You're registered to vote. You need to be registered. Once you get there, there are going to be 3 different ballot papers. And I think, Dr. Ndebele, if we can speak to these 3 ballot papers, because as I say, I've just been listening to people, and a lot of people are still confused. Yes, national, yes, provincial, but the regional one is people are still asking about. Perhaps you want to explain it to us, so people know when they go and vote, what it is they're voting for.
Sure thing. So, there's 400 seats in the National Assembly. So when you're voting for the national ballot, you're voting for the National Assembly. But this time around, we only used to vote with 1 ballot for the National Assembly. This time around, we're going to vote with two ballots for the National Assembly, for the National Parliament. And the national ballot that you're going to get is, you can think of it as being for 200 of the seats in the National Assembly. The regional ballot is to make sure that the National Assembly is representative of the whole country, to make sure that in the National Assembly there will definitely be an MP from the Northern Cape. Whatever party they come from, or whether they're an independent candidate, that regional ballot is to make sure that the representatives that are going to represent all of us from all the different parties they're from, or whether they're independent candidates, are going to represent the whole country, every province that is in the country. And so on that regional ballot will be the names of political parties, but there will also be the names of the independent candidates that are contesting in your particular province. So here in Gauteng, we've got 3 independent candidates that are contesting in Gauteng. There's independent candidates that are contesting in the Free State, in Limpopo, and in the Western Cape as well. And there's one other province that I'm leaving, KZN. And so those provinces will also have on the regional ballot the names of independent candidates that are vying to represent that province in the National Assembly, in the National Parliament.
And of course, Sophie, going into this election, as we saw in our crossing to Lehihi in the Northwest Province, Ward 44, Rustenburg, the residents there have decided they are up, they are out, they're just not going to vote. And then we saw previously in the Eastern Cape, there were a few issues with security around Mthatha. We're told that has been resolved, but obviously, given what's happened in KZN as well, this week leading up to today, security is obviously going to be of concern.
Yes, indeed, security will be of concern, particularly after the Mthatha incident. We had yesterday the Electoral Commission pointing out that they have spoken to the security cluster, and the security cluster, because as I pointed out yesterday, it is the responsibility of government of the day to ensure that the security cluster is ready to protect the country and the citizens of this country in terms of exercising their rights freely and also under a very secure environment. And therefore they pointed out that that will be done. And we heard from the Minister of Defense when she was at the polling station yesterday. She pointed out that all the members of the security cluster and the personnel of the security cluster, they are ready, and her saying that including the defense, but you know that the first line of defense will be your police. If they can control a situation, it's only then you can bring in the National Defense Force. You also have the intelligence operatives or officials or cluster to assist in gathering information so that you are able to preempt whatever the eventuality that can be there, so that you are able to request the relevant security cluster units to come in and give support and security. And I think the president on Sunday, his first point of departure in terms of his statement had to do with issues of security, because we know that these elections are highly contested. We saw those court challenges, we see the complaint, and therefore you have to be up to the task in terms of ensuring that South Africans, those who want to go and vote, they do so under a free and fair environment, and also there is security for them.
So and just interestingly, to basically punctuate what Sophie is saying, I see Sasria, they've put out a caution on post-poll protests. Sasria, of course, is the state-owned special risks insurer. And they are saying, according to their CEO, that if the ANC won more than 48% of the vote, there was a slim chance of protest or instability. And obviously, one would imagine that the converse would also hold, according to what they are saying. So just thought that's an interesting one.
I mean, to add to that is very much so what we heard last night from the police minister, BBCi, as well. I mean, talking to the preparedness, the readiness of the police to get involved under any circumstances, the amount of SANDF that are being deployed. I mean, the numbers we're talking about, 2,800 soldiers. We've got 17,000 SAPS that they believe will be adequate. So, you know, the defense and the protection of the voters is of utmost importance. But it's interesting to link the two in terms of the worry about anything that may happen. That's why ears on the ground. I mean, the run-up has been okay, it's been good, but what are you hearing? How are we feeling?
Yes, I think the country, and I think as you have correctly said, we can't take a chance. As much as largely it's been peaceful, I would say peaceful largely, but we can't take a chance, especially because we have had incidents in the recent past around violence, looting, those kind of things. One day we woke up and then the trucks were bent, and no one was prepared for that, and then it went on for days. And South Africans were asking, so where were you? Where was the intelligence? So that is what the government is basically preempting to say, even if we feel the situation is under control, we ought to be ready in the event someone decides to do something that we had not prepared for. So I think that is what is informing them. And I think the president was clear in that address when he said we will be up to task in terms of ensuring that this election moves smoothly, because the experience that we have learned from the past, and actually that past is a very recent past, so we cannot allow it to repeat itself.
And I suppose there's comfort in that, given how swiftly the action was taken in Umtata. Right, for now, we're going to have to park that there for now, because we're going to take a break here on Morning Live. But don't go anywhere. We've got you covered, and we've got so much more to come your way. 28 minutes before the polls open here on Election Day.
Yeah, some people are already standing in the queue. Many many waking up in the early hours of the morning to go and get their place in that line. Others still getting ready. I hope you're one of them, because election 2024, 28 minutes away, and we're here to hold your hand the whole way through.